Let me give a welcome word to DRESSX founders Daria, Shapovalova, and Natalia Modenova.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our traditional summit, where we bring sustainability and technology together. We are very excited about our speakers and presentations this year. I'm sure you will find a lot of new interesting data points and insights that we will all be able to use for the better, more sustainable and more technological future of fashion industry.
Hello, everyone. Natalia, thank you so much for the start. Olga, amazing lineup of speakers. Every time we have such great guests, and I'm sure there will be some interesting numbers to be shared among the industry. I just want to remind that some of the people are watching online with us, but we're sending also the recording of the summit to so many followers and fans and friends, 3F of ours. So we will make sure that the content is widely distributed. The reason why we decided this summit since the DRESSX was started in 2020 is because, first of all, we always had Olga, our Chief Sustainability Officer, with us as one of the first people who joined the company, because we see that one of the missions of DRESSX is to help the industry to find the way to be more sustainable. We do understand it's only one effort that can be done. There can be way more efforts. We just want to unite, to inspire. We do understand that someone is working on great solutions to make fashion more sustainable. There are so many things that still should be changed. We definitely believe that digital fashion can a little bit help here, but definitely not the only solution that needs to be developed. So that's why it's important for us to unite, to hear each other, to talk, and maybe some of you will connect after. So really looking to every panel, every conversation, and happy to learn a lot of new things. And by the way, inside the DRESSX app, we recently also launched the opportunity to show how you saved resources while purchasing digital fashion, but I'm sure that Olga will tell you more about that. So let's kick off.
Yeah, just also a little update that especially for the guests and dedicated to our digital meeting today, we released a special digital wearable that can be worn by you for the video calls today or moving forward through DRESSX camera, and that's how you can enhance and make your wardrobe more sustainable with purchasing less of the physically produced items and wearing more digital for your meetings just like this one when we connect all online. And thank you for being with us today.
Thank you so much. I would like to ask those who...
Olga, you're muted.
Yes, I would like, would like to mention for those of you who just joined the summit as a listener, as a participant, please mute yourself because it's a little bit disturbing for our speakers. Thank you, Daria and Natalia, for the welcome word. And Daria, you actually took some of part of my presentation, but that's okay. I'm going to show that what you just mentioned in visuals and details and explain what Daria just mentioned. So the theme of this summit is actually to understand 3 to 5 years prognosis, what is going to happen with the digital fashion industry. And because the last year was a little bit complicated for all of us, and what was happening with the Web3. So we still have a lot of hope, and we understand how digital fashion can help us with solving, for example, sustainability challenges within traditional fashion industry, how these tools can help and to change the consumption and production of the fashion goods. And we can see that there are a couple of trends which are going to appear, already started to appear in this industry, and I want to talk more about these trends. So since I'm a Chief Sustainability Officer, the first trend which I want to discuss with you is how digital fashion tools can help with the sustainability and circularity challenges in traditional fashion industry. And we all see that during the last couple of years, there have been different milestones achieved by traditional fashion industry, like certain brands put in place their carbon credit limits, that we can see the rise of the resale programs or rise of the alternative textile usage, but still the core operations of the traditional fashion industry require a huge transformation. And we're absolutely sure at DRESSX that digital fashion can provide these opportunities and can drive these changes in traditional fashion industry. And I've been sharing that these numbers from the very beginning. This is the core of our sustainability methodology. And I would like to repeat to everyone, and this is my role to remind that actually the production of digital garments emits 97% less carbon footprint. 97%, so just only 3% of the production of the real physical garments. And on the production of the digital garments, we don't use any water, versus in production of the physical garments, we use in average 3,300 liters. But if we take, for example, a pair of jeans, it's going to be 7,000 liters of water per pair of jeans. So the impact is very huge, and I'm going to show you in bigger picture, like in a couple of years, 5 years prognosis, how can that change the environmental impact of the traditional fashion industry. But what I want to say that this is our methodology, this is our core, and we are working to get the patent on that methodology. And one of the steps of that is that our patent application was published by United States Patent and Trademark Office in November of this year. And this is a small, well, in some point it's a small, but it's actually a huge milestone for our patent application. And we are waiting for its final approval. So for us, these numbers, it's not just the numbers, but for us, it's a very meaningful methodology, which we want to be a blue mark for the blueprint for the whole digital fashion industry. And so here you can see our performance in 2023, how much, and it's the numbers as of today. So by the end of December, they're going to be changed slightly. So this, you can see how much carbon footprint, 21,000 tons of CO2 equivalent we saved during this year. This is by our customers to buying digital fashion, that means meta looks, and trying AR garments in our app, and instead of going and buying physical goods. And the water, usually the water statistics is really incredible for me. It's 3.3 billion liters of water, which is like 1/3 of the total amount of fresh water, which the whole planet, the whole people living on the planet need for one day. So the impact from the digital fashion is actually huge. And if we extrapolate that impact, and let's say that we stop producing 1% of the physical items, just totally stop producing that. So what is going to happen in this case? And we replace that production with the digital garments. In this case, we will be able to save annually 35 million tons of carbon footprint emission. And this is the equivalent of the carbon emission of the Denmark. And in terms of the water, it's 5 trillion liters of water annually we will be able to save. And this will give an opportunity for the whole planet to get access to the fresh water for 1.5 years, just replacing 1%. So I am not stopping to emphasize during all this time since we launched the Digital Fashion Summit at DRESSX that the impact of the digital fashion is actually huge. We just need to implement it and find more use cases and trying more use cases where traditional fashion industry can switch to the digital fashion and to bring this impact in every company, in every brand. So about talking a little bit more about this 1%, for those of you in terms of like displacement rate, so how far we are right now to this displacement rate of 1%, is it really, can we get there? Is it like reachable or not? So here we have to understand that we need to bring the change, the huge change into the production of the digital goods. It means it should be the change inside the fashion industry, but it should be also the change inside the consumer minds. And consumers need to be ready to switch from digital to from physical to digital, and to understand that ownership of the digital assets is actually very valuable, and that they can replace some of the purchases of the physical garments. So for those of you who attended our summit in June, you probably seen these numbers, but I wanted to show them again, because this number, this 13%, is actually giving us the hope. What is about this 30% about? We ask our community, how do they feel about purchases of the physical garments since they started buying digital garments and have experience with digital garments. And 13% of those respondents actually said that they see that since they start buying digital garments, they have bought less physical garments. And 13% is not a lot on one hand, but still taking into account that this digital realm is very new. It exists for like maybe 3 to 4 years maximum. This 13% is actually a huge number, and it's given me the hope that little by little together in 5 to 10 years horizon, we can reach those 1% displacement. That means that all the companies stop producing like 1% of their clothes physically and switch to the digital. And probably those of you who are using DRESSX app or going to the DRESSX website already noticed that we added the sustainability data under each of our products in the app and on the website. So you can see how much carbon footprint you are saving and how much water you are saving by preferring and buying digital items instead of going and buying physical. But we actually went further, and what we prepared for you, and you can go and check it on your phones in DRESSX app right now, is that we created a personal dashboard. So when you enter into your app and you go into your personal account settings, the first thing you can see after your email address, you can see your sustainability dashboard, which shows you, if you click to the information, it's open you again the dashboard, and then you can see the list of the items. And these items is the AR looks, which you tried and save using DRESSX app, and they're going to appear here and stay here, and you will see the statistics of the carbon footprint and water for each look, but also the meta looks, which you are ordering. So with every AR you used, your dashboard, your numbers, this like carbon footprint here and the water saved here will grow. And what you can do after that, you can actually share that in the social media. You can share it in your stories or in your feed, and you can tell to all your community how much water and carbon footprint you save by preferring digital garments. And this is what we call digital fashion sustainability passport. So you can share your digital fashion sustainability passport and be a proud user of digital fashion and advocate for using and switching to the digital fashion. You can tag DRESSX, and I'm sure that recently you will see like different prizes from DRESSX or challenges where the user who has most of the carbon footprint saved will get something from us. So this is in terms of the sustainability trends, but we also see other trends which can drive the changes in traditional fashion industry. And these changes is like twinning digital and physical fashion, and we can see it already right now. with different brands. So we can see that the boundary between physical and digital is going to blur, and we can see that actually Gen Z is started to be more and more comfortable with earning digital assets. And since it's the driving economical force in the future, in next 5 to 10 years horizon, it's very interesting how they will actually shape the purchases and what kind of physical fashion they will prefer. And in our prognosis, they would like to have the digital analog on that items in their digital realms, where they feel very comfortable and where they spend a lot of time. So in terms of the key technological trends, we see in last year that AI, artificial intelligence, was popping up, and different solutions such as AI try-ons presented by Google, by DRESSX. It's launched in beta version right now. AI will help to optimize a range of processes in the digital design, digital fashion, and digital production. It will help to e-commerce and to the customers to make their choices. But it's not only the production tool, it's not only try-on tool, but it's also the tool which will help to the brands to understand the preferences of the customers, to analyze data, and to create the items which are more favorable, which customers will buy. So this will help to reduce the unsold amount of items, which will help to the brands to reduce their production and produce only those items which are really in need and in those colors and those designs. In terms of the augmented reality and the virtual reality, I think especially with the development of different smart glasses and mixed reality glasses, these tools will help to enable different features. We already see the physical garments which has extensions with AR and make these items fun and cool. And our solutions, like Natalia just mentioned, that we launched the camera where you can, with using AR technology, where you can wear the accessories on your calls. So all this is going to develop more and more and take a part of our life. Of course, Web3 co-creation, and this is, we can see a lot as well, when the community drives what kind of the design is going to be, or not only drives, but take part of the creation and will help to the brands, again, to produce something. And this connection, to be a part of the creative process, is linking the customer and create a bond and engagement with the brands. And we didn't see that previously. And of course, to sum up all these key technological trends, I think that interoperability is one of the things which we will need to solve in the next couple of years, to combine all these different realms. We've been talking about dressing on the avatars in different environments like Roblox or Zepeto. We're talking about augmented reality or mixed reality, but right now they all seems to be kind of disconnected, and especially with the physical world. So interoperability and trying to create and put them together, this challenge, what we see, we need to solve. And the speakers which we are going to have today are going to talk more in details of each of these trends. And I'm very happy to call our first speaker.
Okay, we'll see how tech savvy I am here to do this.
Now we can see the presentation. That was good.
Okay, perfect. You can see the full screen now? Yes?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, all good.
Thank you. Okay, Olga, that was really insightful and really interesting. So thank you for the preface on that. That's super interesting. And I think just even though some of the data is small, like what I think is really important is that there's a foundation here that we are building upon that is increasing year over year. So I feel like that, combined with some of the data that I'm actually going to share with you today, I think really tells a nice story about what is not only happening today, but what's future looking, and how sustainability is inherently going to just be part of the conversation if it isn't already. And for most brands it is, but growing that importance because of the relevance with Gen Z, I think is going to be super important. So thank you for the introduction. Thank you for asking me to participate. I'm Winnie Burke. I'm the head of fashion, beauty, luxury, and retail at Roblox. I've been with Roblox for over almost 9 years, so over 8 years. And it's been really amazing to see the transformation of this industry during that time. We have been doing a lot of work to understand the importance of digital fashion for Gen Z. And what I want to talk with you about today is about self-expression in immersive spaces and how that relates to sustainability. So we really do recognize that consumer interest in digital fashion and self-expression is realized through customization of your avatar, of course. That is important to every user experience on Roblox and other immersive spaces. When we have an audience the size of our audience, which is 70 million daily active users who are using the platform to connect and communicate with one another, they're spending about 2.5 hours a day on Roblox. So we really need to understand what is important to them so that we can understand how to support them through their journey on Roblox and really understand sort of the impetus behind digital fashion and its growing relevance among Gen Z. In order to do that and to better understand this digital expression, we embarked on our second annual research study, which we just published in the last month and a half. The 2023 Digital Expression, Fashion, and Beauty Trends Report that focuses on how Gen Z's self-expression in immersive spaces impacts their physical style, their purchase decisions, their mental well-being, and what these trends mean for various industries from fashion to tech and beauty. The growing importance of digital fashion for Gen Z really represents a lot of interesting parallels with sustainability that we can share with you more about today. To give you a little bit of background on our expression report, we surveyed about 1,500 Gen Z respondents in the US and the UK. It includes a vast amount of platform data as well. So really kind of connecting the dots between what is happening on Roblox and what Gen Z is saying. And substantiating some of that information. We started this research last year, so we did another trend report last year. So we were able to do a little bit more comparisons between what the community was saying last year, the Gen Z community, and what they're saying this year, and how those numbers are changing and evolving. But also kind of took a little bit deeper dive and looked at the full spectrum of self-expression through digital identity. We included avatar makeup, hair, and fashion this year as well. For Gen Z, who are growing up in the digital world, as we know, self-expression and digital identity is essential, right? Overwhelmingly, 84% of respondents say that digital fashion is at least somewhat important, while 53% say the importance of digital fashion has grown a lot in the past year. This, however, is one of the most interesting statistics for me, and I think for this industry as well. 56% say that styling their avatar is more important than their physical style. So I'm going to say that again because it is super important. 56% say that styling your avatar is more important than your physical style. Connecting the dots between that statistic amongst Gen Z and how they feel and their sentiment and what's happening on Roblox is absolutely substantiated. 1.65 billion digital fashion items have been purchased year to date on Roblox, with 165 billion avatar updates on our platform alone. So those numbers are really staggering, definitely suggestive of the avatar styling and digital identity and digital fashion and their growing importance among this community. The strength of this data really suggests that fashion industry should be considering digital style and its growing importance to physical. And you can imagine a world where this really starts to transcend some of those sustainability challenges that are faced today around sourcing, manufacturing, shipping, inventory, and of course, waste. Another interesting data point that we learned from last year's research is that Gen Z reported their physical style was often inspired by their avatar style. So this is another really interesting statistic. This year, we dug a little bit deeper and we asked, were they ever inspired to dress up in the physical world based on their avatar or what their avatar is wearing? And the vast majority said yes, with over half saying they were very or extremely interested. So how does the avatar actually reflect their style? Like, what are they doing with their avatar, their physical style based on their avatar? So 42% have expanded the kind of fashion styles that they wear. 37% changed their hairstyle, 34% more bolder fashion styles. They colored their hair. They became more comfortable dressing in more gender fluid styles, and they often just try to look like their avatar. This is all suggestive of a consumer who is willing to take more risks with their physical self and their physical style than they are, or they have been historically. We know that people are really interested in self-expression on these immersive platforms and really taking risks. You know, of course, we see the beautiful creations that DRESSX is creating and embellishments. And when you're not bound by the laws of physics, these enhancements that you can create to your digital self. And we're seeing that kind of transcend and pull into the physical world. And so that's, again, really suggestive of avatar influencing physical style and what that means for sustainability. One of our creators recently said about fashion on Roblox that I think is worth sharing is that it's not necessarily about the expansion of the fast fashion industry, but rather the beginning of a new one. So I think that's also really important, a really nice distinction there. So whether you agree with this statement or not, it's really fascinating to think about the power of this generation and how they're going to be able to influence the industry as a whole. So what does this all mean for brands? Many brands are curious about the impact of the physical world's behavior once people wear or try their items on in immersive spaces, for example, on Roblox. So, of course, this year's research shed some light on that. We asked some questions around this because a lot of our partners want to know. Most of Gen Z are saying that they are likely to consider a brand that they wear or try on virtually on their avatars in the physical world. So if they try it on in the virtual world, then they are more likely to consider it in the physical world. 3/4 of them say wearing digital fashion from a recognized brand is at least somewhat important to them. This is a positive implication for brands who can be creative with how they're testing new products, right? So this can be an opportunity for research and design and testing new materials, new designs, colorways, et cetera, to see what's really resonating with consumers before the industry goes into mass production. So using these digital sustainable spaces to test this before you're actually creating a physical, it's a great way for brands and manufacturers to have a more sustainable approach, less returns, less shipping, less waste, et cetera. So all kind of really supporting the foundation for sustainability. So how much are consumers spending and allocating towards digital fashion? You know, is there a business opportunity here and what does it look like? There are many exciting stories on this topic. If we're digging back to the virtual Gucci purse that sold on Roblox for more than the physical purse, that was kind of the beginning of this sort of trend on Roblox where you're really investing in these digital items and valuing them almost more, and in this case, more than the physical item. And of course, the Carolina Herrera dress that resold on Roblox for several times for in the thousands of dollars. We find it really interesting that consumers react similarly to exclusive and limited items in the digital world as they do in the physical world. And this year we dug a little bit deeper to just see how much they're willing to spend. In fact, the vast majority of Gen Z say they're comfortable budgeting at least some money each month for digital fashion. We want to underscore here that digital fashion is not just a hobby for Gen Z. I think everyone on this call can appreciate that, of course. Brands really need to consider this as a new category to invest in. It should be integrated into their core business, and they can also support their corporate CSR efforts. Our friends at DRESSX, of course, early movers in this space have enabled self-expression across multiple platforms, including Roblox, where you enable, cross-collaboration. Of course, the Dundas collection was really well received on the platform and took those examples of, not bound by the laws of physics and embellishment of your avatar and taking it to a new space that you actually can't even do in the physical world. Or if you can, we're not quite there with taking those risks, but we are definitely heading in the right direction. These are just some fun insights that we thought were worth sharing. What do consumers most want to see from digital fashion brands? And this is a question that's on many brands' minds. We get asked this all the time, like, what should we create? We also heard from Gen Z that they want to see more fashion brands twinning. So creating something for your avatar as well as for your physical self. Physical items that are trending online and then are brought to the metaverse, rare digital only items. So these are digital exclusives. We see a lot of success with this on Roblox. Again, when you're not bound by the laws of physics and you can create something extremely compelling and creative, extremely rare, limited copies. And of course, which we love on Roblox is creator collaborations with the creator community. I think one of the main takeaways from this research and what we're really seeing on Roblox that substantiates this is that not only is this future looking, but this is happening today and it's growing importance year over year. The implications for the physical industry and for sustainability in particular are beginning to emerge as more brands embrace this shifting behavior amongst Gen Z in particular. This really suggests a future with more purpose, less waste, more intention, which I think is really important, and what is being produced in the physical world by using these immersive spaces as a testing grounds for fully integrated digital brands, and being part of their core business structure. We hope that these findings were as insightful to you as they were for us in helping us understand more about our community and about Gen Z as a whole so that we can better support them on the platform and help move the industry forward. If you're interested in learning more about this full report is published on our blog. So it's blog.roblox.com. Again, thank you so much for asking me to participate. This is an amazing session. So turn it back to Olga.
Thank you so much, Winnie. Do we have any questions to this amazing presentation?
I do have a question. Hi everyone, this is Stefano connected from Dubai. Thank you for the great event today. Hello. I mean, Roblox is now more and more the platform of Gen Z to truly interact. And recently, you had another big concert. What is your estimation about to involve more old gray guys like me in the platform? Do you think in the future month, I use it and I love it, by the way, but in general, do you plan somehow also to expand in an older generation to give them some good reason to use the platform and expand also the cross-generation usage?
Yes. So great question. And yes, to all of that. This is something that's very deliberate at Roblox. It's something that we've been working on for quite a long time, actually, is to continue to support and expand the community and offer an opportunity for any brand, any consumer of any age demographic to come onto the platform and have Roblox really be a place for them. We saw this during COVID, especially where there was utility amongst all generations. We saw marriages happening on Roblox. We saw graduation and retirement parties. I mean, this is really, it is a platform for immersive connection. Gaming is sort of a front runner in this space, but it is certainly not defined by gaming. So there's so much you can do, but really digital identity and self-expression is at the core of it. We've always said that tech and we're providing the tools and the technology. The community is providing the content, but enabling and having the most robust technology in this space is really what's going to help us continue to expand our demographic. Importantly, on the statistics side of it, 17 to 24 is our fastest growing demographic for the last 2 years. So this is pretty substantial. The second fastest growing demographic is 25 plus. So you see what's happening here is this kind of shift. It's our users who are starting out maybe young and maybe as a platform that's been around for 18 years. This is a demographic that's actually growing up, aging, and staying on the platform because there's still utility for them amongst their social groups. And we will continue to support that with the expansion of content and as well as technology.
It makes a lot of sense, and I think the adoption will be more and more increasing even as the field of fashion. Thank you so much for your pitch. Very nice.
Thank you.
Hi, Winnie. I'm Vidhi. I'm from India, and it's lovely to be here to attend this fashion summit. I had a question. It's a little different, but I wanted to ask because I'm from India, so I was very curious that apart from the West, do you think a platform like DRESSX can grow in countries like India itself?
I think that's probably a better question for the DRESSX team, who could answer with more, with more data about their plans. But of course, I think the geography. This is not something that's bound by geography. I mean, digital self-expression and these digital immersive spaces and avatar creation is not, it's not region specific. I mean, this is just I don't even want to say a trend, because trend is suggestive of that it's could disappear. This is here to stay, and it's growing in importance. So my firm take on that is, of course, and of course the DRESSX team would, I'm sure, be able to substantiate that even further, but yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Of course.
Do we have any other questions to Winnie? Well, I think no. Winnie, thank you so much for joining us. It's a great pleasure, and thank you for providing all this amazing information about Roblox. And I think that the next speaker is going to be very logical, talking about data and statistics, and it's Charles Hambro, CEO and co-founder of GEEIQ. Charles, I hope you're here.
Hi there, I'm here. Hello, everyone.
Hi, how are you?
Given me the wonderful opportunity to follow on after Winnie, which is going to be a challenge here, because Winnie's from the actual platform itself, and I'm going to be talking a lot about that particular platform.
We love that.
Yes. Well, we've worked together for a long time, Winnie, so I'm excited to show you and the DRESSX community some more information about what we've uncovered. I suppose I just get started, right?
Yes, go ahead. You can share your screen, your presentation. It should
Wonderful.
be good.
Okay, let's see if I can get this working. Share screen. Right. Can you all see my screen? Yes.
Yes.
I hope
Yes.
that's great. Okay. So, pleasure to be here, and really excited to talk to you about the state of virtual brand experiences across multiple platforms, not just Roblox, but a quick one on myself and GEEIQ. I'm the CEO and co-founder. GEEIQ is a company that was founded back in 2018, actually. And it was founded on the notion that games were no longer, or games were changing and no longer games as we once knew them. So let's get straight into it. And if we think about the fundamental principles here, we live in an attention economy, ultimately. And if we think about, I don't know what time it is for everyone, but everyone's on multiple different time zones. But by 9 a.m. in the morning, as you go to work, you've probably been hit by around 20 different brands, whether it's on the tube, whether it's on the television, watching the news, the radio, on Instagram, in stories, you'll get an advert. All of those brands are vying for your attention. And for brands in sort of the pre-2000 era, if you were a fashion brand, you would have been limited to print, TV, and radio as a communication vertical. And the gatekeepers would have been Condé Nast. For a brand like Balenciaga, they would have to speak to Condé Nast in order to get in front of that community. Now, something happened in 2005, where the rise of digital and social media, eyeballs started moving. People started buying less magazines, and it wasn't Condé Nast you needed to speak to, it was Facebook. And I'm sure there's a lot of fashion brands that initially thought, God, we couldn't possibly be on Facebook. That's where a bunch of university students are. I'm hearing the same people saying the same thing about what is the next evolution of communication verticals, where eyeballs have moved. And I don't need to labor this point, as you've just heard Winnie eloquently speak about how the growth of these new immersive platforms are rising. What's really, really important to understand is, we're all preconditioned to know what a game is. The difference between a user-generated content platform and a traditional video game is user-generated content platforms take the fundamental elements that traditional social media had. Anyone can go and upload content into Instagram. That content is limited to 2D content. It's image and video. the difference between Instagram and Roblox is the content is three-dimensional. And that's really what we're talking about. So while it's an evolution of attention, this is obviously an evolution of self-expression. If we think about pre-2000, the way you express yourself, we still do it today, is what we physically wear. Typically on social media, absolutely it's what you physically wear, but the number of your audience and your followers and the number of people that can see it is on these social media platforms, and you're self-expressing there. This is no different in these environments. It's just not you, not a picture of you. It's your avatar that is expressing how you feel and what your values are. And brands are obviously an incredibly important part of that because they have their own values. So if we think about what this means for brands, we're at a period of time now where quite obviously they have strategies, and for many years now they've had strategies for traditional forms of communication. But a brand like Gucci, which is far advanced in this space, they treat Roblox as very much another communication vertical, which is just as important as their traditional communication verticals. The only difference is, and we'll get into it, is the level of engagement is completely different. The list goes on with all these other brands that are starting to enter these virtual environments and communicate with these audiences. But we're at a crossroads now where traditional media and the new media is starting to compete for that attention. And those people on the right tend to hold users for longer periods of time than those people on the left. So we can obviously see why Facebook has created Meta and is starting to enter virtual environments. We can understand why Instagram is creating avatars. If we look at Douyin, which is TikTok in China, we know that they're building avatar-based systems. We know that virtual environments hold users for longer periods of time, and the core measurement metric across all of these different platforms is time spent. So who's owning time spent is the real question now. Now, this is Gen Z, and I just want to remind everyone what Gen Z is, because I think people think Gen Z is sort of sub-13-year-olds. Gen Z is 11 to 24. So, half of those people in the UK are old enough to drink, maybe not in the US, but in the US, half of them will be old enough to vote. Now, this is going to make Winnie look really fantastic because obviously Roblox is sort of number one in that space. And coming in second is TikTok. Everyone goes on about how much time is spent on TikTok, but actually more time is being spent on Roblox by this audience. Then you have YouTube. And just to be absolutely clear, on YouTube and TikTok, one of the largest categories of content is gaming video content. People watching other people play Roblox or Fortnite or Zepeto. And then we have Minecraft, which is another user-generated content platform, Instagram, and then Clash Royale. These are all games. So if we're thinking about an attention economy and where people are spending time, this is a really, really important graph. Now, this was a survey done in 2022 of Gen Z's most loved brands. And this was actually done by the Business of Fashion. What's very interesting is when we start to overlay that data with the activations being done inside virtual environments by all of these brands. And we're seeing a bit of a correlation here between meeting Gen Z where they spend time and the love index increasing. So that's quite interesting. Just want to be absolutely clear, because that word metaverse is a tricky one for us all, and we've been dealing with it for a while. But there's multiple different types of virtual environments, and I really, it's difficult to compare apples with oranges here, and I want to split them into three categories. I don't like calling the ones on the left gaming platforms because they're not. They're what I'm starting to call immersive social media. But really, there's advantages and disadvantages to those ones on the left. The Zepetos, the Fortnites, the Roblox of the world. The huge advantage of these platforms is that's where the audience is at the end of the day. It's a huge high player base. Now, with any user-generated content platform, there's limitations on data collection. There's also limitations on what you can build. It's a bit like the limitation on Instagram. You're limited to video and image. In some of these user-generated content platforms, you're limited on what you can build. So in the middle, which received a whole lot of hype during the crypto NFT huge boom, were the blockchain-based platforms. And really, there's no difference between the gaming platforms and the blockchain-based platforms. The only difference is they're based on the blockchain. So it means you can integrate your NFTs with these spaces. Problem is unlike the gaming platform, that's not where the community is necessarily. That's not where the user base is. So there's lots and lots of advantages, but the disadvantages is the user base. And on the right there, we have what we like to call the owned worlds at GEEIQ, which are incredibly popular and lots of brands are doing. But the advantage of that is you're building your own world. It's a bit like building your own three-dimensional website, which is fantastic. You're unlimited. You can build whatever you want. But you are restricted on the player base because the player base is 0. You have to attract the audience to go into that environment. So 3 different ways we bucket it. Now, if we take the user-generated content platforms, the gaming platforms, and put them all up against each other, this is another one that looks good for Winnie, is let's look at the monthly active users. So where is the leverageable community? And we can absolutely see Roblox is on top, but it's followed by Minecraft and Fortnite, which seems to be getting a bit of a resurgence now. The Sims, which not many people know it's user-generated content, but it is. People can mod in that platform and upload content. Rec Room, which is mostly a VR-based platform. And then we have Zepeto, which is strong in Southeast Asia and Japan and South Korea, and a various suite of others. Now, what I want to be absolutely clear are these are the top user-generated content platforms in the West. In China, it's a bit of a different story. They have Super QQ and various other platforms. So the landscape, as we see it in Q1 and Q2, and be prepared, there's a report coming out in January that GEEIQ is going to be revealing the data for Q3 and Q4. There are 350 brands who have entered this space and these platforms, and they have created over 500 experiences. Why are there more experiences than there are brands? It's a bit like saying, well, Gucci's in social media and they have an Instagram, but they also have a Twitter and they also have a TikTok. So Gucci's in this environment, they have a Roblox experience, but they also have a Zepeto experience. So some of these brands have multiple experiences. I think what's really important to say is these experiences are not just short-term campaigns, they're persistent experiences. It's the sort of traditional social media equivalent would be they're not just working with an influencer on a campaign to promote a product, they're creating an Instagram profile which they are constantly feeding the community with content. So when we plot that on a graph and look at that over time, we can see we're at a bit of an inflection point here where actually this isn't slowing down. And I will reveal on this call to the DRESSX community that for Q3 and Q4, both of which are record-breaking quarters for brands entering virtual experiences. So this isn't slowing down here. This is, in fact, speeding up. Now, what we can see, which is quite fun to have a look at, is the trends and how the platforms change. We can see in Q2 of 2018, there was a sort of Minecraft moment. And then in Q2 of 2020, there was a huge Animal Crossing moment. Those of you who have been in this industry for a while will remember that Animal Crossing trend in lockdown. But the consistent growth we're seeing is in Roblox and Fortnite. And that is purely because of the leverageable community that those platforms have. People go to where the eyeballs are. Decentraland had a huge moment in the sort of NFT crypto period. For Q3 and Q4, it's very, very small. So the trends are changing over time, and I look forward to revealing the data in January. like I said before, just to be absolutely clear, this is persistent experiences. So this is accumulative. These experiences are always on. There's a difference between integrations and what we've seen, which I can reveal in a bit. Actually, I'll go to it at the end of the slide in our platform, is a growth of integrations that is starting to happen inside these experiences, but the majority of them are persistent. Now, relevant to this community that I'm speaking to here is how do we break this down by sector? Fashion is the largest sector in the space, accounting for almost 30% of all activations that have happened, which is Winnie's domain. Inside of Winnie actually does cosmetics and beauty as well, I believe, which is accounting for a huge portion of brands entering this space. Why? Why is it that fashion is the core dominant mover inside virtual environments? Well, it's all the things that we discussed. It's Winnie's presentation on self-expression. But really, if we think about the history of fashion brands and how they adopt technologies, it was the fashion brands that were actually quite late to social media. So they stuck with Condé Nast and they were in Vogue magazine for a very, very long period of time, particularly luxury fashion brands, and slightly snubbed their noses to the Facebooks of the world and said, well, as I said before, we can possibly be in those platforms. It's just a bunch of university students. They paid the price because they were late to social media and they were kind of playing catch up. Now, all of the major luxury fashion brands that I know and that GEEIQ works with, they bear the scars of that. And the moment they start to see eyeballs move, and the moment they start to see the data on time spent, they go, we're not being late to this one. We know this has happened before. So I believe a big reason why fashion has entered this space so early is because they were actually quite late to the last communication vertical. This is just a breakdown over time here where we can see from 2016 to 2023, the top platforms that held the most virtual experiences and the most active brands across all those different experiences. Again, it looks like I'm sort of, Roblox has paid me or something. I promise you they haven't. I'm just revealing the data, but Roblox is the top platform and has been consistently since 2016. Now, using our own algorithms and analytics and looking at the data, we can start to do projections on how we think the industry is going to be split. Of course, this summit is about the future for 2025, and we still think that fashion will dominate the space. However, there will be other industries that start to enter based on the growth rates that we're seeing. Second to fashion will be food and drink, followed by personal care and cosmetics, which we're actually already beginning to see that. Elf Cosmetics recently released a very successful experience inside Roblox. L'Oreal Group is making some huge moves in that space with L'Oreal Paris going into Livetophia. But really, we're still looking at fashion being the dominating sector in 2025. Here's another look for you to see all the different industries and the growth rates. Actually, the highest growing industry will be retail over the next couple of years. One to call out would be Walmart, creating Walmart Discovered inside Roblox. And just to be clear on that one, that is not a game, that is a utility tool for the Roblox platform. So really, really emphasizing the fact that these platforms are not games, these are communication verticals. That's my presentation. I am going to give you a bit of a bonus section here before I hand it over to any questions if there are, where I've gone live into the platform at GEEIQ at the moment, where you can see a quick snapshot of Q2 and Q3 here. The dark blue is Roblox. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into owned experiences, which is still growing, as you can see, but I'm going to show you something called integrations. And that is where brands are integrating with already existing successful experiences. The equivalent on social media is somewhat a brand like Gucci partnering with Kendall Jenner, who already has a huge following on that platform. The Kendall Jenner of Roblox would be Libetopia, for example. And integrations is something that we're really starting to see take hold, predominantly in Roblox and a little bit in Fortnite now. That's my presentation. If you do have any questions, I'd be delighted to answer.
Amazing, Charles. Do we have any questions from the audience?
No questions means it was super clear, so that's good. How are you? I just saw in the chat. I'm very well. Thank you very much for asking.
I think it was so much data and so much details that
I've baffled everyone. I've confused everyone. Yeah.
But thank you so much, Charles. Always grateful and always like very interesting and full of information and data. Thank you so much for your participation.
Such a pleasure. And I will end on such a huge fan of DRESSX, especially Natalia, where we met when Clubhouse was actually a thing back in the day. And I continue to watch DRESSX grow and flourish and keep up the great work.
Likewise on our side, we follow what you're doing in GEEIQ and we are huge fans. Thank you so much, Charles. So I would like to call for our next speaker, and this is Isaac Korn, Senior Director of Innovation at Perry Ellis International. Hello, Isaac.
Hey guys, I'm here. So you see me so far because I have to change the place there. I was going to do the presentation because I have some issues with the computer, or I don't know, but I'm here. I wanted to put the DRESSX background, but if I put it, then you will only see my face. So trying to do my best.
No worries. We're happy to see you, to hear you. We can hear you very well. So hi, Isaac.
All right. So thank you very much for the invitation. I'm going to share my presentation. So as Olga said, I'm Isaac Korn. I'm the Senior Director of Innovation at Perry Ellis International. And I want to talk a little bit about our digital transformation journey and how we did it and how we're thinking about it. So for us, there's always an issue about what's the reality of the fashion right now, of the state of fashion. And I'm not going to go through each one of the numbers that you guys see here because you can read them, but our industry is one of the most polluted industries out there. And it's not tending to go down. The numbers are just spiking up, and there's something that the brands need to do about it. We need to start thinking a little bit different about it, because it's us, the brands, that are creating also part of this mess. So we need to be able to be more conscious about it. So what's the solution? And the solution is to go digital. So here's a little bit of how the product development process looks like for a regular fashion company. You start doing your design, and then these are all the steps for the design process. Then you do your sampling, and then you go out and you sell your products in different ways. So the first thing that we did is that we mapped out this entire process, and we said, like, which one of these processes can we do either more digital or more virtual? So we went from this to this. And I'm going to try and explain each one of the process to be able to understand it a little bit more. So what's digital transformation? Digital transformation is the use of new digital technologies to solve problems. And that's what we're doing. We're solving problems using digital technology. So the first thing that we had to do is like change the way that we work and change the way that we feel. It's very funny because for the longest time in the fashion industry, we live in a 3D world, but we design in a 2D world. So the entire process, it's prompt for us to do samples, to do protos, and to do everything. So we're designing this beautiful garment on the left, and for the designers, for the longest time, it was like, oh my God, this is going to look amazing, but I'm not able to make a decision until I see a sample. And that's the process that we were used to. We do a design in 2D, that's how we do the sketch, and then we ask for a proto, we ask for a sample, and then we can make the decision. So, of course, the technology has moved forward that we can design today in 3D. And that's the process that we're doing. We're changing the way that we work from a 2D space to a 3D space. So what are we doing in the 3D, and how's the 3D working out for everybody? So it's literally thinking about changing the regular sample room to a digital sample room. And this is the magic behind the 3D. And I'm going to do it very fast, but I want everybody to be able to understand why 3D can be a very good answer to the way that we work today. So everything starts with the digital pattern, and the digital pattern is exactly the same pattern as it would use in your sample room. So it's the same pattern, same thing. So you're using something that is real. And then you're virtually stitching the garment. And how you're virtually stitching the garment is the same way that you will stitch the garment in real life. So again, you're doing the same process, but in the digital way. And then comes the magic. You're simulating the garment. So you're simulating the garment using an avatar. That avatar has the same measurements as your fit model. So again, you're using real life measurements, real life process, but in a digital way. And then you're simulating the garment, and the way that you're simulating the garment, and the way that you're able to do the drape to look realistic, is that you have to digitally sample your real life fabrics to be able to produce that digital drape that looks realistic and gives you that feedback. So again, you're taking all of the physical aspects of the sample room that allows you to make a decision, and you're making them in a digital way. And then at the end, you can get very nice, beautiful, photorealistic images that you can leverage in different ways. So this is how usually fit sessions come to life. So imagine this process of doing a fit session. You first need to have a fit model, you need to have a proto sample, and then you need to have designer number 1, designer number 2, technical designer number 1, technical designer number 2, and then everybody that wants to join a fit session, because of course everybody wants to come in and wants to say everything. So we're taking away from this, and we're saying we already have this 3D technology, how we can leverage this 3D technology to be able to make some decisions. So we're changing the way that we work from a physical way of doing fit samples to come to a digital way of doing samples. And we're able to do this because we understand and we trust the technology, that the feedback that it's providing us, it's a real feedback because we trust the process. And we can even see the way the different tension maps to be able to make decisions. So instead of producing 4 or 5 protos or 2 or 3 protos, what we're doing is that we're approving everything in a digital way, and then if needed, we're just asking for a reference proto just to make sure that everything works out. But that reference proto, it's already going to provide us a very good information because we already did a previous approval in a digital way. So we're trying to get away as much as we can from any type of protos, and we're trying to make all of our decisions in a digital way. So how we're designing in 3D, and how are we making this process in 3D? So everything starts from a block library. We have created a huge block library that the designers can choose from, and they can start the designs from that block library. And then they can create different things. They can create different cutting lines, they can create different colorways or different fabrications, and they can play around with different color blocks and everything. And so imagine that they're having the feedback right there. So something that it used to take them weeks to be able to get a proto, they can start getting the feedback, like instantly feedback, as they design and as they make different iterations to the design that they're making. And we already know that all the process in 3D, it's allowing us to get away from all of these 2D sketches because we're sending all the information to our vendors in a 3D matter. So we're getting away from anything that is 2D sketches, and we're making all the decisions that we're sending all the information to the suppliers in a 3D matter. And then we already know for the designers is that when that the 3D allows them to do the artwork wherever they want to do it, and they already know that the placement is the correct placement. Same with different details for the garment. They understand exactly the placement, and they understand exactly the measurements of what they're doing in the 3D garment. And then they can create endless colorway edits and play with the different colors right there and there, and get instant feedback of what they're producing and what they're doing. So we're doing the entire process that used to take months. We're doing everything in less than a day or something like that to be able to produce or to be able to do these things. So what this is making for us, so faster decision making, reduce samples, reduce products, less samples, less waste. We're improving our speed to market, and we're getting better synergy between our teams so they can communicate in the same platform. So this is an example of how usually like a calendar used to look like. So if you do this calendar and you take away all the weeks for sampling and everything, which is almost 3 months, you can take away 3 months from the calendar. So that means that you can design closer to market. So when you're designing closer to market, you're getting more accurate data so that you have to guesstimate what the next market is going to look like. So if you're designing close to market, you're able to provide your wholesale buyers better data and better information that is accurate closer to the season that you're actually designing to. So this whole process about changing the way that we work has changed the way that we sell and that we go out and represent our different lines. So this used to be like a piece of catalog that we used to go out with our retail wholesale buyers. So if you go out and sell like this, you definitely need to be able to have a sample to finalize the sale, because this is not telling you much. It's telling you, okay, this is like the color palette that you're selling on, but it's not telling you anything about the garment. But imagine going from here and be able to showcase your line like this. So we're using a digital cataloging tool, and all of the garments that we input in this digital cataloging tool, all of these images are photorealistic 3D images that have been generated, and they look like the real thing. Like if I don't tell you that they're photorealistic images, then we will not know that they're photorealistic images. And the detail, it's very eye-blowing. It's exactly so. We're able to go to our sales meetings. We're able to do this, and not needing to sample the entire colorway. Maybe we just sample one colorway as a reference. We still live in a world. This industry is still touchy-feeling, so we need to be able to have some reference. But instead of sampling the entire colorway, we're sampling one reference sample, and then everything we're showcasing in the digital way. I love showcasing this because this is how our rooms used to look in our office. So you see a lot of printing, blackboards all over the place, printing, pinning. This is like a whole mess of a process that is like that. So if we're already doing things digital, what's stopping us to be able to make decisions in a digital way internally? So we changed from this process to an 100% digital process. So now all of our meetings are in a digital whiteboard, and we use different types of digital whiteboards to be able to do our meetings and to be able to showcase our collections internally. And these are actually internal meetings of our designers showcasing their line. Instead of doing the way that they were doing in the left, they're showcasing the lines in a digital way. So right now, all of our rooms have large screen TVs instead of big blackboards all over the place that look like a mess. Same thing with the initial mood boards that designers used to make. Instead of having a big board like you would take things and pin and here, then we're using these whiteboard, digital whiteboards that can be used as a collaborative tool between all the designers. So all the designers can go into this board and start dropping different things for the season and start getting more ideas, and then tag different people and different places and everywhere. So it actually allowed them to be able to create more freely, because they don't need to be in that physical space. They can take an image on their phone and they can upload it to their board and start thinking about it. So again, it's changing the mentality, changing the way that we used to work from a physical way to a digital way, and how can our process be streamlined like this? Same thing with our showrooms. Like right now, we don't need to be in a showroom. How we can have a virtual trip of our showroom. So we were able to do that. We 360 scan one of our showrooms, so that space can be used for different brands, for different things, and then people can actually go to our showroom, they can visit it, and they can do a virtual tour of our showroom and understand our latest collections and be able to make decisions and be able to make purchase of our line just by visiting our showroom in a virtual way. Same thing with our meetings with buyers. This is the way that we used to present to buyers, that this is how buyers used to make assortments. I love the image to the right, because this is a buyer doing her assortment on the table, and even though we were doing things in 3D, she needed to print out something because she wanted to make the decision in a physical way. So we changed that and we told them, let's start doing the assortments digitally. And now we're using different tools for them to be able to do the assortments 100% digital. And all of these are digital images that were done in 3D, and now they can do the different assortments in a digital way. Same thing with our photo shoots. How can we get away from actually all the photo shoots? And that's the process that we're working on right now. How can we create e-com imagery that is 100% digital using 3D assets, or even in some cases, we're researching a lot of AI. We're not using 100% AI right now, but we're researching how can that work in the near future to be able to produce our e-com imagery. So you have different companies. I love showcasing this video because the garment is done in 3D. It's a 100% digital garment, and it's draped on a model that never wore the garment. So at the end of the day, you get a very photorealistic image that you can leverage on e-com of a real life model that never wore this digital garment, and you're able to showcase it, and people can buy from it because it looks very realistic. There are more examples. And then this whole thing about thinking fashion in digital way also let us go to the metaverse. And I know that we were talking about different platforms and different gaming platforms. So, we were part of the first Metaverse Fashion Week back in 2022, when everybody was crazy going into the Metaverse and doing things. So we started doing different activations because we do understand that it's important for people to be able to know about the brand, that maybe they're not used to know about our brands or things like that. Then we get different audiences to be able to experience the brand, experience what we're aiming for, and see our collections and be able to wear our collections. So we created a virtual store. People were able to purchase the digital garments. We minted the limited amount, and we actually gave them away for free, because for us it's very important for people to be able to experience the brand and have different things. And everybody was happy working with the brand and doing different things and wearing the garment. And it was a different type of experience and different type of activation for the brand. We also did it for the Metaverse Pride Parade as well. So we took our Pride collection and we turned it into 100% digital Pride collection, also for people to be able to wear it and to be able to represent their colors during this activation. We even did a live concert as an activation for one of our Latin brands. So while we were streaming the live concert, we had an avatar of the singer singing in the Metaverse, and then different fashion alternatives for people to be able to purchase, to be able to wear, and showcase this activation that we did. And of course, we did a great activation last time around with DRESSX and one of our brands, which is Original Penguin. So again, it's be able to work with companies that understand and that trust that digital fashion, it's the way to go, and be able to showcase everything that we're creating in a different way that we usually didn't showcase in the past. And of course, working with DRESSX to be able to create the different AI filters for people to be able to post online their our collections, again, without even worrying, because we already know that this is 100% digital. And this is a little bit of an old quote, but it's very important for everybody to understand, and this is something that we always tell everybody when we have this presentation, is that brands that don't think about digital right now are the brands that are not going to survive and are not going to be able to move forward. So for us, that was very important back then when the pandemic started, and still important right now. And luckily enough, we were ahead of the game before the pandemic, because we started doing all of this digital transformation back in 2018. So when the pandemic hit for us, we were prepared, so we didn't have to scramble. And as we know, the pandemic, anything that was digital, then it just skyrocketed during the pandemic, because we knew that this is what's going to happen in fashion, and this is what's going to be the future. So I'm very glad that I was able to present our showcase for everybody, because it's very important that we think, that the brands think that it's not only to showcase, but it's also to be able to streamline processes that we use these digital tools. And that's it for me. Any questions?
Amazing presentation, Isaac. Yes, I can see that there are some questions in the audience. Jacqueline, go ahead, ask your question. I think it's a very interesting one. Jacqueline? Okay, I'll just read that one. What are some of the pitfalls by working on the scale of digital development?
Sorry, I was able to unmute myself. Now I'm here.
Go ahead.
So Isaac, I'm a fashion industry veteran of over 30 years, and I'm the person that sat through all those fittings and did all those same things. But digitally speaking, what are some of the pitfalls? I saw that you had different blocks for things, but as a designer, where things are tangible, how is the actual digital product coming out in terms of the product itself? Does it fit? Does it feel good? Like when you're not really feeling things and looking at them on a human body, it's fine if it goes into a digital platform, nobody cares about how it fits, but how does it work on the real world?
No, that's a great question, and I'm not telling you that it's like a process that you turn on the light and then turn it off and then you're going 100% digital. It's a process. People need to be able to start trusting the software and start trusting the feedback that you get from the software. At the beginning, we were doing side-to-side type of comparison. So we were having the physical product and we will have the digital product right next to it, so that people understand that if there was an issue with the fit on the digital, that it also showcased in the physical and back and forward. We're still going to be, the fashion industry is always going to need some physical component to it. But in some cases, there's a lot of decisions that we can make in a digital way, having some small aids of that physical component. We're still going to be able to select fabrics. We need to touch the fabrics and we need to understand the fabrics and things like that. But we don't need to sample 3-4 protos just to be able to make a decision. You can make all the decisions in a digital way and then say, okay, now that I trust the software, I understand how the garment is going to look. Let's only sample one so I can get my reference, even if you need it, because maybe it's just a carryover fabric or something like that, that you said, you know what, I already know this fabric, I already know how it's going to look. I trust the software, I can move forward. So it's a transition. There's always going to be some physical component to it, but the idea is that you can make upfront the most of the decisions in a digital way. So then when you actually do the physical one, you just need to do it once instead of do it multiple times to be able to make the same decision.
No, that makes sense. So no, it makes sense. So it's a tool at this point. It's not necessarily a complete, elimination of human interaction.
No, it's never. So it's never going to be elimination of humans, and it's never going to be elimination of 100% physical. But it's going to be elimination of a big chunk of physical. The thing is that I feel that it got so easy to get samples or to produce samples or to send things away and things like that everybody only said like, okay, I need to change 1 inch. Can you send me another sample for 1 inch?
Right.
You don't need to do that. You can change the 1 inch on a digital and see how is that going to affect and understand if you actually need that 1 inch or not. So things like that, you always can make it in a digital way. So you can make your first protos 100% digital, and once you're 100% sure, if you still need to see a sample, you'll see a sample, but you're doing everything else digital beforehand.
Understood. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I can see, Stefano, you're raising hand, and there are more questions to Isaac. Unfortunately, we're a little bit running out of time, so please write your questions into the chat, and I think Isaac will address them. Otherwise, we have to switch to our next speaker. First of all, Isaac, thank you so much. It was very interesting and very insightful presentation. Thank you so much for taking your time and coming and joining us. So I want thank you. I want to invite our next speaker, and this is our amazing friend and Megan Kaspar. She is not the first time at our summit, and I'm very honored to
trust. We can do it. Trust, bro.
Hello, Megan.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? So happy to see you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here with all these amazing leaders in the space. I'm so inspired by everyone that I've been listening to, Charles and Isaac, so many amazing things that have been built in the last couple of years.
Give me a second. I will share your presentation in a bit.
Okay, not a problem. I'll just do a quick background for those of you that don't know who I am. I am an emerging technology investor. I'm also an early investor in DRESSX, amongst several other digital fashion companies and designers. And I'm the managing director at Firstlight, which is a privately held digital asset and blockchain agnostic technology investment firm. And I'm also the founding member at Red DAO, which is the world's first digital fashion focused DAO. And we're responsible for purchasing the world's most expensive NFT, which is the Doge Crown, that was purchased for around 423 ETH. And at Red DAO, we invest in a broad range of emerging opportunities that arise from the dematerialized apparel trends, all powered by blockchain. We're also investors in DRESSX through Red DAO as well. So we're very excited to be supporting the team. Let's see, I've focused on playing a significant role around the digital fashion narrative and delineating investment opportunities in the Web3 fashion sector to proliferate the ecosystem and significantly influence the transformation of the fashion industry towards a more sustainable and forward-looking future. I'm actually really excited that I'm going after Isaac because he spoke about the disruption of fashion photo shoots. And I was the first human with the help of DRESSX to be on the cover of a magazine wearing Fendi. Fendi allowed us to digitize 9 of their pieces. And so I wasn't physically wearing the clothing, and it made the photo shoot much more efficient, especially because I'm not a model. So it really made things much smoother and easier, whereas DRESSX could go and digitally tailor the clothes on later to make them look perfect. So that use case is exciting. And also notably, I was on Yahoo Finance with Natalia, and we showed the world how you can wear NFT digital fashion through Zoom or to create live content. So we were the first people to do that, which is exciting. So we can go to the first slide. So I just wanted to review the sort of use cases on and off chain for digital fashion and the utility that's disrupting the fashion industry overall. Specifically, we saw like an emergence on chain of art and collectibles with fashion included in that. Dolce & Gabbana was a part of that movement, mostly speculative asset investing. The biggest trend or use case that we're starting to see emerge right now is a word in our space is phygital or digital twin, but they're really real world assets on chain. So those are products that are physical in the real world, but have an on chain smart contract counterpart where they're connected. Ownership and provenance is obviously a big one, where you have token gated community access or even gated purchasing access. VR wearables, we've had Roblox obviously being a good exemplary mechanism for digital fashion there. AI generated in digital tailoring, which are just starting out, and then AR wearables. So things like filters, NFT wearables, and virtual try-ons are also becoming quite popular in the space. So these use cases are pretty prevalent, and considering that most internet users spend 7 hours online per day, nearly 60% of that global population is most active on social media platforms, with YouTube included, TikTok, Instagram, and there's significant number of engagement in video games, obviously 3.9 billion, I think. So with both of those realms, we're really seeing a proliferation of digital fashion use cases emerge. And in the digital realm, it becomes more of a playground for self-expression. So for younger generations like Gen Z and Alphas, their online identity or avatar often carries as much importance as their physical identity. So this is really marking a shift in how identity is perceived and presented in the digital age. The luxury market is also undergoing radical transformation as it adopts to the growing spending power of Gen Z. Along with millennials, these consumers have accounted for the entire growth of the luxury market in 2022, according to Bain, at a represented amount of 70%, which they expect to be in 2025 in luxury spending. So we can go to the next slide. And thank you, Olga, for doing this. I was having some technical difficulties. Last year, I showed the notable moments for digital fashion compared to the price of Ethereum, because I'm in the crypto space. So I like to see what's happening with the digital fashion sector, coinciding with everything that's happening in the crypto ecosystem. And although we are in a bear market, Ethereum is up 88% this year, unlike last year where it was down 67%. So in order to really navigate where we are going over the next 5 or 10 years in this space, I think it's really important to see where we are in each year. I believe it was Charles who mentioned beauty coming into the space. It was quite prevalent this year, starting with YSL launched their first NFT and loyalty program in January. Fenty followed with an off-chain version of digital products, and NARS also did an activation. Many growing Web3 native brands in beauty are also popping up, like Kiki. So that's really exciting to see. And then obviously we've had, most notably, Louis Vuitton did their first on-chain real-world products, which was the VIA trunk. And since then they have launched 2 other products that are available for trunk owners. So this is really the beginning of large fashion brands doing smaller micro collections on chain. And then see, there was a surge in Q3 and Q4 where Web3 fashion trademarks and patent applications have sort of exploded. And according to global data, the patent data reveals that it's primarily sporting brands that are dominating the NFT patent arena. But this massive surge is no shock, considering that this year, and I believe it was Charles who mentioned in Q3 and Q4, there was a record-breaking for brands to enter virtual spaces. So that's it makes sense. And then Margiela also entered towards the end of this year in October. Now these are just a few. There have been several hundreds of activations throughout the ecosystem, obviously. So we can go to the next slide. So the evolution of ownership and the shift to sustainability is something that I follow very closely, and especially as an investor in this space. This transition from what I see as physical only to digital first will happen over the next 10 to 15 years. And we've already started to see the beginning of this happen through the tokenization of real world products. I believe tokenization of every world product and asset will eventually happen and everything will be on chain. But there's just a incremental movement towards that reality. Let's see, the digital fashion market was valued at 342 million in 2022, and that number is expected to expand over 190%, reaching almost 200 billion in 2028. And for 2022, the global apparel market was 1.5 trillion. So the digital fashion ecosystem, I think, has quite a great trajectory towards taking up a large market share of the entire global apparel market through the tokenization of all the world's assets. And we'll see also changes in consumer behavior over the next 5 to 10 years throughout this process. The shift from digital only to digital first ownership. And with that digital first ownership, you'll have a wide variety of access into things where we don't traditionally have. I've laid them all out here. I won't take up too much time in reading them, but I think that it's a really important trajectory to follow as the ecosystem expands. And we can go to slide 5. So in 2023, last year at the summit, I did this presentation. Oh, thank you for, I don't know if the video will play here, but this is just an example. Like DRESSX, 010 has also done VTOs. And I think virtual try-ons in real time will also become a better way to view our fashion in real time. And that's something that has happened. So these are the predictions that I laid out last year. On-chain consumer products through micro collections have already happened. AR NFTs, which are starting to happen with DRESSX's new Zoom products and virtual in real-time wearables. And then AI generated fashion we're starting to see. And then enhanced web browser-based experiences and commerce is obviously started to proliferate this year as well. Let's see. I think we can go to the next slide. Is there another? Yeah, so trends for 2024 that we're really looking at and focusing on, obviously real world assets on chain. I think that there will be some regulation that comes around that. Hardware disruption, some near eye wearables, which will also enable better usage of digital fashion, the humane pins, which are really interesting, harnessing AI and can probably have a potential to create efficiencies and sustainability around fashion as well. So this hardware will bring us next generation gaming and social media. So similar to how in 2007, when the iPhone first came out, this was the first version of a computer in your pocket. So the smartphones enabled social media and gaming that we hadn't had previously. And I think that the new hardware that's coming out will do the same. It'll really disrupt the current gaming platforms and the current social media platforms. Charles previously from GEEIQ calls it immersive social media. I call it social reality. And I think that these platforms will emerge quite quickly once we have the device disruption that's coming. So that is a really big one that we're looking at. And then AR NFTs, we have some use of them now, but I think that the proliferation of content creation and really disruption around marketing and using AR NFTs for purposes of creating content for these digital platforms and then also marketing will be a big one in 2024. And then brands shifting to sell goods through on-chain membership-based programs. So this is really gating the ability to purchase something if you're already provably in the ecosystem or network. We started to see that in 2023 a little bit, but I think in 24, several brands will roll out different products around membership-based platforms. And then AI avatars in social media. I think Charles also previously mentioned there's several social media platforms already working on AI avatars, and we'll soon see that in the American versions of social media. And then the beginning of AI applications on chain and merging with blockchain. So there's a blockchain and AI both become super powered when you plug them together. And there are a lot of ways that digital fashion use cases and solutions can be created with or used with those technologies. So really, the two mega trends and Web3 fashion drivers that we're most focused on at Firstlight and Red DAO are device disruption and the AI identity content generation. And I think that's it. So quick one.
Thank you so much, Megan. I'm really excited about the merging of blockchain and AI. Looking forward how it's going to develop. And I can see that we have some questions from the audience. Let's just take one of the questions. I think there was a raised hand from someone in the audience. Stefano, maybe it was you, no?
Yes, of course. I mean, obviously curious to explore such a topic. Thank you, Megan. Your pitch was eye-opening because you bring data on the markets, and the opportunity you see of growth is actually tremendous. So definitely congrats of your role as a pioneering in investing in such technology even before everyone else. So I think we need also to take risk to move ahead, but definitely the future holds a huge opportunity of billions of users adopting tokens as everyday life to having the digital property for every single item. So thank you so much.
Yes, of course. And I wanted to wear the NFT digital fashion that I have that are the first ones that were ever worn on live television. This is also a friction that we can speak to. I'm traveling right now and I don't have the wallet or access to the wallet that holds those digital assets, so I can't use them. And I think that the disruption around where we store our assets and how we do store them, the ones that we want to use anyway, I think there will be disruption around that too. There are capabilities where we can use our phone numbers as back-end wallets to store things and be able to plug that in very easily into platforms and use them. So the usability of NFTs will also shift this year. Forgot to add that.
Great.
Great. Thank you so much, Megan. It's always a pleasure. Thank you for taking time, even when traveling. We appreciate it a lot. We appreciate your support. Thank you. So let's move Let's move to our next speaker, and this is Ludovico Marenzi, Director of Sales, the Americas of Xsolla. I think I hope I pronounced it correctly.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much.
We cannot see you, Ludovico.
Well, here it says unable to start video. You can start your video because the host has stopped it. If you could give me access, that'd be great.
Maybe you can start like sharing your presentation. I'll try.
I'm going to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll try to fix
there
that.
we go.
Oh, here we can see you.
There, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
So thank you very much. I'm super impressed with all of the previous speakers, and I want to say hello to some old friends. It's great to see you again, Charles and a few others, and certainly Heady Company, and you guys have done a tremendous job already. So I'm more on the conversational side rather than bombarding you with enormous amounts of data. A little bit introduction about myself. I'm a 25-year digital twin, digital transformation expert, and that started in very humble beginnings, looking at how printing companies could distribute printed assets. So if, for example, they were printing advertising for film studios and they were duplicating those pieces of film. And in fact, what they could then do is distribute those things over the internet. And that was in the mid 1990s. And that was my foray into beginning to work into the digital space. I spent 10 years at Accenture running the West Coast for the United States. And there we created 3D CGI platforms for massive companies like Nissan and Infiniti and Audi and Volkswagen and Honda and Mercedes. To just give you an example of what kind of digital twins we were producing, we were producing everything from brochures to our videos to commercials. We did 2 trillion image assets for Mercedes-Benz. So you can imagine when you're at these companies and you wanted to have a picture car, you would have to have written authorization from the chief marketing officer why you couldn't use the digital twin version of that vehicle. That means every brochure, every configurator, every asset was then built in that way. I then had the great fortune of working after my time at Accenture with one of the world's largest retailers, building a B2B supply chain system that visualized prototypes and essentially eliminated the need for creating samples or as many samples as they had, because as what DRESSX is doing, they're trying very hard to be more sustainable, save water, save resources, reduce their carbon footprint. And I'll get to that at the end of the presentation, exactly what they were talking about. Currently, I have the pleasure to direct sales for the Americas for Xsolla Metasites, and we're working very closely in building Metasites, meta experiences, UGC content, and all of the things that might influence Web3 as we're moving right now. We're doing about $2.5 billion a year in transactions. We're the merchants of records for many of these gaming companies, and we're really excited. Our founder has invested over $100 million into the Metasites space because we believe that this is where the future is. And you can see after what Charles has been talking about and what Winnie is saying. I mean, those are incredibly impressive stats and numbers, and they're just blowing things away and changing the landscape in a big way. I want to thank DRESSX, particularly Natalia Modenova and Daria Shapovalova and Julie Kresneko as well for inviting me to participate. And I'm humbled by the caliber of people that have been on the panel so far. I want to talk a little bit about DRESSX's vision, because we haven't talked a little bit about DRESSX and what they're doing, that core principle of saying, let's shop less in the real world and let's shop more in the digital world. And I think what they're tapping into is this idea of that great feeling, that dopamine rush that we get from buying something in the real world could be transformed into the digital world, where we're spending more and more time, and that they're really going to make a big impact and change how fashion is consumed, right? How are we consuming fashion right now, and how much waste is there? And I think that's going to be a big change and a big driver on with their vision. I mean, look, they've sold 1.7 million DRESSX digital looks. They have over 355,000 meta closets. I mean, their NFT platform is growing by leaps and bounds. I mean, they're working with these major brands, and I want to congratulate them for what they're doing in this space. I want to ask the panel and the audience a question. Are we living in the matrix? This is a very important thing, because in the past, we're maybe fearful of living in the matrix and these things that are coming. And in the movie from 1999, some of you will remember it, and I think it's one of the great movies. Morpheus talks about, why would Neo be surprised about being in the matrix? And he says, your appearance is what we call residual self-image. And it's the mental projection of your digital self. So we may not be living in the matrix, but we are spending enormous amounts of time there. And it's not known as the matrix as it was in 1999. Instead, 24 years later, we call it the metaverse. How important is that perception of our self-image to others? It is the foundational question, and probably the most important thing we do, which is projecting a specific self-image to others, whether it's in real life or reality. It's the premise for fashion, cosmetics, luxury brands. They all work on this idea of what image I'm sending someplace else. It's the foundation for attraction, evaluation, fitting in or measuring our status, and in some cases, rebelling or standing out from the crowd. Our desire to have the most impressive residual self-image might even be on the platform we're on right now. Even in mundane meetings, we strive to project the best possible digital version of ourselves, even if that means blurring the lines of reality and really embracing and evolving into that digital landscape. 60% of Gen Zers think digital first impressions are more important than in-person ones. I have a personal story about this. I had spent 3 years with a client, speaking with them on Zoom. And I had the pleasure of meeting them just this year, but I did not recognize them when I saw them. And I walked right past and they said, oh, it's me. And they were probably, wanting to know why I didn't recognize them. Well, I didn't recognize them because they had a filter on it, which made them look 15 years younger. And I really didn't see them, which was absolutely staggering to me. But it showed me also how important this is about our self-image and what we do there. And DRESSX is then reflecting that mental projection of your digital self in creating all of these wearable fashion trends across all of these platforms. If we look and think about how we're understanding the next generation, fashion is the favorite entertainment category for US Gen Zers. They spend more money on fashion than dining, video games, consoles, music. It's fashion, right? And Gen Z, they have an enormous amount of power right now. They're getting more and more powerful, and they're valued at about $360 billion. When we look at surveying those Gen Zers about what does fashion mean to them and their perception, 89% of the survey participants said that fashion was very important in boosting their confidence, while 82% of them said that the fashion is important for establishing their identities, right? So these are really, really important parts of how we present ourselves to the world. This is also, talking a little bit about what Charles was saying. This is from the business of fashion, talking about the favorite brands right now. And the fashion industry is adapting at lightning pace, faster than any other part of the industry. You can see that in also the amount of money that they're spending in the industry. And of course, we talked about Gucci. Gucci is making a massive, massive run at this and being very, very successful as a result. And we can see how the brands beginning to line up and beginning to make their entry into the virtual world and the digital world very important. If we you've seen some of this information, maybe not this exact slide, but we can see these daily active users. Roblox is just absolutely dominating, Fortnite and Minecraft and Niantic right behind them. But it's showing that these are the new battlegrounds of how we see things. Charles mentioned as well, like Condé Nast, you used to have to go consume fashion at Condé Nast or on Vogue or on Harper's Bazaar. That's now changing, and these younger generations and the alpha generation too, how are they going to consume their content? They want to be given the information as they see it and where they consume the content. They don't want to have to go in other places and see that. I want to talk a little bit about the client that I was working for, and they were implementing this digital transformation. They were and still are one of the largest retail brands in the world, and have a massive global footprint. And to just kind of understand, and I want to make a shout out to Isaac and congratulate him on his digital systems that he's building as well. And it took this particular company 7 years to convince all 90 suppliers on their retail side that they should use one singular software. So if you could imagine, if you're trying to create a series of assets for production, and everyone comes to you with a different software and a different 3D program, well, you're going to spend millions and millions of dollars in wasted time and inefficiencies trying to translate that software. 7 years, that is a long time. But the results were amazing. If you could imagine, they went through 200,000 tech fit samples in every color. It also included 3,000 pairs of shoes. So if you can imagine the amount of effort that they did. So just in fiscal 2022, they saved $8.2 million going from their traditional design systems and going into a digital transformation and being much, much more efficient on how they created those assets. When we think about some of the lessons on that and where are they and how this involves, reducing a carbon footprint or being more efficient, they're able to do all their print and pattern reviews online, their key look design, their fit review. We got to see that in great detail with Isaac again. And then one of the things that we don't talk about very much in the digital transformation space is how that imagery can then be used in .com and how it can be used in every campaign moving forward. One of the things that I was involved with in the past was creating commercials where you might have a star, an athlete, where you only have limited access to that athlete, but you could change the apparel that they're wearing, and in those commercials using 3D visual effects and basically stretch out and not have to reshoot that athlete again, saving literally tens of millions of dollars in production costs and reshooting, where you might just have to replace a pair of shoes or a pair of shorts or a sweater or a shirt. And those things really made a massive difference in that advertising cycle. They were able to speed up their production cycle as well. And when we think about the sustainability side, it's not just being more efficient on the financial side, but now they were able to eliminate shipping costs, packaging costs, storage costs, landfill and disposal costs. Think about when you have 200,000 products, what that looks like from a storage facility if you are a Target or a Walmart or a Macy's or any of these companies. It is enormous. And then the people that have to manage that. If we look at what the actual savings from this particular retailer is $24 million of initial cost reductions in samples and prototypes. That doesn't mean that they didn't get a prototype at the end. We called it a golden sample. At the end of the day, they were able to say, well, this is our approval through the digital process. Make that final sample for me. I need to feel it and touch it in my hand and make sure that you as the manufacturer understand what I'm actually wanting. But that across their private label saved them $24 million. If we think then about what that impact was on procurement time, it reduced their time from design to putting it on a shelf by 2/3. And that is enormous. They also typically, the buyers, and this was the B2B solution, was the travel time going from the United States and traveling to Asia and to China. They took 412 million pounds of carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere by not doing all those travels and making sure that they could do all those things digitally. And then one of the last things that happened, as it was actually a happy coincidence, as they were able to visualize the products and the shipping and how it fit into a box because they could see it in 3D, they were able to eliminate entirely polystyrene and all their packaging for private label products. So when when one division had seen it, the senior vice president, he said, why can this division remove polystyrene? And he just made a mandate that everybody could do it and they could use this 3D system to make that work. So on that note, I'm very happy to have been part of such an illustrious group of people speaking, and I thank you for your time. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer those.
Thank you so much, Ludovico. I'm really sorry we have to skip the question part because we have a speaker who is running out of time and needs to go to
Understood. Thank you.
Alexei, I would like to invite Alexei Thomas, co-founder and CEO of Vanda Partners. They've been working with Balmain for last couple of years. And Alexei, are you here? Are you still with us?
Yes, I'm here. You hear me? It's okay?
Hello, yeah, we can hear you. Can you share your presentation?
Yes, I'm so sorry, but I have to leave you at in few minutes. That's why I will be before Otman, but I will be really quick. Okay, thank you so much for the invitation. I will present myself in few numbers. I'm the founder and the CEO of Vanda Partners. It's a French company specialized in augmented reality and in 3D modelization since 6 years now. We are present in 5 offices in France, from Nantes and Paris, in US in Detroit, and in Casablanca and Rotterdam in Europe and North Africa. Maybe to explain how we work today, we have specific work based on 3D studio and augmented reality. Today, our small 3D studio is employ 20 3D artists, and we work for big company in France and in Europe, in a retail company and in high fashion one as Balmain, or for other fashion brands like Forêt Lepage, Dôme, Aviland, and other kind of brand, but it's secret. Today, the aim is to present some Balmain experiences based in augmented reality and 3D, to have a short reminder, but I'm sure that it's not useful. Our vision of augmented reality is to use a low polygon 3D with a high rendering for this 3D in augmented reality to explain and to push our experiences with these technologies. Our technologies work standalone. We don't need and we don't use today Meta or Snap. All solutions are based on the web, and we can embed this technology directly on the website of our client to have very dynamic experiences. We can work with Meta and Snap, for example, but it's not the base of our business. Some statistics from these 5 last years. The rate engagement is really high with augmented reality and 3D. We can have very high satisfaction for customers, and more globally, the conversion rate is around plus 15% in general. And I will be more precise for the Balmain use case just after. You will see it's really interesting, and you will have last numbers because yesterday evening, we received an award in France and in Europe for the best website. Today, I'm really happy to present to you this use case from Balmain.com and Wonder. Since 3 years, we work with the Balmain tech team to imagine new UX and new technology to embed directly on the website of Balmain to create more efficiency website and more business with 3D, augmented reality, and NFT. That's why I will present now. The last number presented yesterday evening are really, really interesting because since 1 year, we imagine a new website, and we'll launch this website in two parts. First part in March 2023, and the second one in September. And today, around 1 year after the new launch of this new website with more and more technology, you will see, we have an engagement plus to 30%, monthly sales higher than we expected, time spent more than plus 23%, transaction rate and conversion rate are double than previous website. Why we have this kind of statistic today? It's because we imagine a new way of user experience in the website based in two elements: 3D modeling, low polygon, especially for website, and high fashion rendering to be in the right line of this brand Balmain in Paris. The first experience we made at the beginning of this year was an evolution of the dress of Beyoncé for Beyoncé. I'm sorry, my English is not so perfect for the last Xsolla event, and it was a very specific dress because this dress is the property of Beyoncé, and Balmain and Olivier Rustin want to reborn this dress. That's why we work on some photo and some draws of the dress, and we imagine a 3D of this dress in augmented reality for different events, first of all, of the Balmain brand, and after on the website. You can test and show this dress at home or at office. You just have to scan the QR code on this presentation. I'll let you a few seconds. You will see it's really easy to do. It's a web AR experience. You scan the QR code, it launches the experience on the web. You click to put it on the floor, and you will have the dress of Beyoncé at home directly. The evolution of this experience, it was to create some pack shot for the Balmain Heritage Museum. It's a digital museum that will be launched, first of all, in September, the next in 2024. And we will put in this virtual museum some dresses in augmented reality and in 3D. All these 3D and all these pictures are based on low polygon technologies, low polygon 3D, and we have a special treatment to have a realistic view from this specific 3Ds. As I said before, yesterday evening we received a special award for three actors of this evolution of the website. Balmain, as I said, Mazarin is a French company, French agency, event agency, and Wonder. And you can see some feedbacks on it. You can see on it all the main pages of the Balmain website and all elements where we worked to create this new kind of website. You have 3D modelization, augmented reality, NFTs bridge with physical products. And a digital museum to live a special experience of all product size, ages. Yeah, Okay, to be focused today, now I will present to you some specific elements of the website. The first one is the 3D viewer. As all brand, they have some backshots, some photo of all product, but Balmain want to make evolve this PDP, and we introduce in each pages some 3D viewer. Here, it's specific for shoes, for sneakers. It's the first step of the beginning of the evolution of the website. And you can see that we have a realistic view of the 3D, but it's a low polygon 3D monetization. It's really quick to download it, and you don't need to have a high connection as 5G or Wi-Fi. In the other hand, we had the same experience in 3D plus augmented reality for bags, for example, and for all kind of product that we can wear. My connection is not perfect. Normally, it's really smooth. As previously, if you want, you can scan the QR code and leave the experience directly at home. I think it will be easier. I let you 5 seconds. Okay. And the last experience in the website for customer, first of all, it's the virtual try-on. We made a global view of virtual try-on for all models of unicorn shoes and for all kind of models of the brand in 2024. We increased the rate for it with virtual try-on more than 30%. It's really incredible because it's very high fashion and very high cost for each product. And as previously, you can scan the QR code and try this virtual try-on. Today, it deployed in all websites of the brand Balmain in France and all around the world. And we will put this virtual try-on in more and more models for next year. You can see it's really easy to use. You scan the QR code directly on the web. You have the experience launch. You scan your feet, and directly you have shoes on your feet. The last experience, it's 3D and NFTs. We made for Balmain some 3Ds, and they sell these 3Ds in 2 ways. First one with digital shoes in NFT, and the second one is the physical shoes. They launched this experience in March 2023, and the owner for one Ether had the shoes in digital and in physical. It was the first time for Balmain. It was very specific for this brand because it's a high culture brand, and they don't have, it's not normal for them. But Olivier Roustin is really he have a good vision of the business for his brand and for all digital evolution. That's why he want to push this evolution. Today, you can show this NFT experience directly on the website of Balmain, and you have the NFT and the 3D, and you can live again this experience. But all NFTs were sold really quickly. That's all for me.
Yeah, Alexis, thank you so much.
And everything.
Yes, thank you so much for this amazing presentation. It was interesting, and thank you for the demonstration. I think that we will have a lot of questions, but I'll let you go because I know you are late for your next event. So thank you so much for staying and for your presentation.
If you have some question, 1 or 2 questions, I can stay maybe 5 minutes more, but no more. I'm really sorry.
Stefana?
Yes, sure. I mean, the virtual reality is been adopting more and more in fashion brands, especially their websites. So how you see now will be the next wave, because probably this is what we call experience-driven commerce, right? So you now identify a great couture brand like Batman, and then you will be improving the experience. But what about the other brands that are still living in the 2D? So what you think will be the evolution and adoption of the B2B fashion brands in these segments?
It's really particular because in France, in particular, the brands are really mad about the evolution of the technology. That's why for B2B brand, we will launch a new concept in January for specific brand in B2B in mixed reality and augmented reality plus 3D on the website. But today it's difficult for us to explain, and we have to teach to explain to brands to how to use augmented reality, how to use virtual reality, how to use technologies in general in France in particular. That's why I think the future will be really dynamic, but the present is really tonic maybe, but we need to make business and to explain.
It makes sense. Thank you. I mean, and then I mean, the solution you showed is very interesting. I'm happy to then support with some connection with some other brands like Valentina and others that may could be interested. Talk to you shortly on LinkedIn.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Alexei. We will let you go for your event. Thank you again for staying. And I want to present our next speaker. It's Otman Shieb. I think, I'm sorry if I pronounce it correctly. Founder of Ariono, and Otman just left Microsoft, where he was working on mixed realities, and this is what he's continued doing in his own company. So please, the mic is yours.
Yes, thank you, Olga. So I think now that you can see my screen, share it. Okay,
yes,
now good. Yes. So thanks for the invitation. Delighted to be here today. So I used to work during 4 years at Microsoft, and I had the chance to lead a topic that start to be now my passion, mixed reality and immersive technologies. So I have led this during 4 years, managing France territory. And 2 months ago, I decided to leave Microsoft to support organization from different industry to leverage the full potential of immersive technologies and mixed reality. So that's why I've created Ariono company. So just before, see, the idea of this session, this 10-15 minutes, on my slide, there is no more than 3 words. It's only videos that I will share, that I will comment on different use cases. But before going deep on some use cases that I have selected for you, just to be sure that we are all on the same page on the definition of mixed reality in this immersive technology landscape. Augmented reality and virtual reality, you know what it is. And the limit of virtual reality is that you cannot walk physically, you are disconnected from your physical space. When we speak about mixed reality, is the blending of the physical and digital world. So you wear a mixed reality headset, the visor can be transparent or not, but you have a crystal clear view of your physical space. You see in your field of view holograms, and you are able to interact with these holograms hands-free. So, and today on the market, there are different headsets. Here I have listed the more mature one. So obviously, the major use case that I will share with you are, I took it from my previous work. So I have an expertise on HoloLens, but we don't care about the hardware. We care about the use cases. So all the use cases that will present to you can be done with any of these headsets. That's it from the theory parts, just to make sure that we are not speaking here about virtual reality. It's really a mixed reality or spatial computing. If this, I think it's going to be the new wording, but at the end it's the same value. So Quickly, one first clear use case for in the training purpose. How can we learn by doing? And here in this case is a school, a fashion business school that is using HoloLens, so this computer, but because it's a computer by itself, to be guided in some different steps to follow. So here, for example, she has to learn how to use this machine. So the HoloLens, thanks to the camera, is able to scan a QR code. And thanks to the scanning, it will appear in her field of view some step to follow to do a specific action. And as you can see here, we can see some holograms that are specialized in the space and guiding the trainers to do an action, to do an activity. And thanks to this solution, you don't need to have 2 or 3 people training someone, and the trainers can learn by doing some specific task. And obviously, you can create any kind, you don't have any limit on the step to follow, and this step can be text, videos, image, etc. And the holograms is really easy to adapt. So this is a simple use cases allowing to do things that you cannot do physically and saving time and reducing the training time. Okay. Another use case, one of the challenge, I will not say main challenge, but one of the challenge of fashion industries for designer is how to collaborate around a design in a real time. And here, so this is a solution. So it's a solution provider called 3Dverse that have built this solution, allowing 3 or 4 different or many different designers to to do a design on an asset in real time from different view. So you can jump on this design session through your smartphone just by scanning a QR code, or on your laptop, or on your headset. And so obviously in your smartphone or you're in computer, you don't have the same collaborative session. When you are remote, it have a value. And when you wear a headset, it can be a mixed reality headset or a virtual headset, you are able to interact in another way with this 3D asset. So I think it was Isaac before that has mentioned all the value of the 3D asset. Here, it's also something as a complementary service on this is today you are able to create this 3D asset, but now today with this technology, you are able to consume this 3D asset like it were physical. So you can, for example, imagine having a HoloLens or a Quest 3, which means that you have a mixed reality headset, seeing the live design of the asset close to a physical object. So as you can have a clear view on the rendering of the modification that you are doing. So this is another value of this kind of technology. Also on the same page with this, how could you leverage this technology to improve business efficiency? As I mentioned before here, for example, this is a remote collaboration session around from designer or other employees from different space that are not on physically in the same place. So here it's a collaboration, it's a remote collaboration with this feeling of presence. And here, for example, you can make appear a shop floor, you can make it appear on a 1:1 size and have a clear view on the rendering of this shop floor, because one of the challenge of luxury brand and retailers is to make sure that there is no misunderstood on the rendering of a shop floor. Here, you can together be on the same situation and have the same view on the rendering, the final rendering of the shop floor. And as you can see, there is no revolution here. I mean, that's this 3D asset, you have it. Now we don't just have a tool allowing you to leverage the full potential of this 3D asset. Something else interesting here is for maybe for designer or architecture or people that are in charge of doing like the design of a room, that it can allow you to cross collaborate around an asset, a 3D asset, and make it appear, as you can see here, live on a one size. So this is also another way to do a design review session without needing to build and to create a prototype. So, and here the solution provider is called Immersion. Something else, so it's not directly linked to the luxury and the fashion tech, but I really wanted to show you another usage of this mixed reality experience in the culture, and how you could leverage this technology to tell a story. Because I think nowadays, everything is about storytelling, about emotion that you are able to share and to share with your customer and make your final customer feel an emotion. And here in this example, it's a museum based here in Paris, where you wear the headset, the mixed reality headset, and you are able to see 3D assets in your physical environment. So it could be a new way to engage customer and to tell things that you cannot write, and to share some emotions in the customer experience. So this is something, for example, that you cannot do in virtual reality, because in VR you're disconnected, and you are not dehumanizing your physical space and your physical environment. So this is also something that you could easily duplicate on other industries. Here, something else here, as I mentioned before, here is a collaborative session between 4 people. So here is an engine, because I don't have the approval, the authorization to show you some use cases with the luxury brand I'm used to work with on this. But you can definitely imagine the 3D asset that you have just seen before. You can collaborate around it. For example, Alexi showed the dress of Beyonce. You could easily imagine a design session between 4 people around this dress. And you have this feeling of presence thanks to the sound, which is specialized, and the rendering of the face of the people. So Olga, I've done your own avatar. I just took your picture on LinkedIn just 1 hour ago, and I have made it in 2 minutes. So the power of this solution is not the rendering, the details of the rendering, obviously. The power of this technology is the collaboration skills that you could have and facilities that you could have in the collaboration. But if you want to do a remote collaboration with this feeling of presence, having a human face in front of you is much more immersive and engagement. So, and we can do this in 30 seconds. But if you want to go deep and you have a rendering which is much more human and realistic, today it exists some different technologies allowing you quickly to create these facial avatars who are really human. So here in this situation, you can check your face in a rig of thanks to a rig of check photos, and generate this human avatar thanks to AI easily, and be able to create this human rendering. Or I don't know, I mean, depending on how you're based, but here in France, you are able to create this this holographic human production in a green room. So I have one here in Paris. So you enter in a green room, and it generates in, I would say, in half an hour, the 3D rendering of you, of things that has been captured during this caption session. And this 3D model, this 3D asset, can be used and consumed on a smartphone or a mixed reality headset or something else. So we have now, I think it was one of the questions before, I really want to make you realize that today is easy to create this 3D asset, much more accessible than a few years ago. Okay. And last, I will not. I don't know if it's valuable, but I know that's it's something interesting for retailers. And one of the challenges is how we could save time in finding a specific article in our warehouse. So here we have connected the headsets to RFID tag. So we have equipped each article with a RFID tag. And once the employees wants to detect, to know where is a specific project article, it just needs to, the specific article is sending a message that is captured by the headset, and so as the employee is guided to find the article, where is the article. So this solution is also a way to save time in finding a product, an article in a showroom space. Okay, so it's not directly linked in the fashion tech, but it's answer to a challenge of luxury brands. So that's it for me. I wanted to go really quickly on the specific topic regarding the timing to make sure that I don't spend too much time, but I can speak hours about this. Today we are living in a really exciting moment, so that's why I decided to launch my company to support organizations. So happy to answer any of your questions.
Thank you so much, Otman. Really appreciate your input, and it was very insightful, even though we're not covering the fashion as it is, but we can relate and we can understand how it can be related to the fashion industry. Let me just say that let's skip the question part because we are really running very late, and we have our last speaker, Stefano Galassi, who was a big participant during today's day, and it's very late in Dubai right now, so let's skip to him. Thank you so much, Otman, again for your participation. Appreciate it a lot. And Stefano, please, the mic is yours. Please present yourself, and we're looking forward to your presentation.
Hello, everyone. So happy to be here, and I'm glad to be invited. Thank you all the founder teams and the partnership here in DRESSX. I'm a big fan of what you've been doing by the very first moment, and obviously what you're doing, you're leading the way on virtual fashion. This will be today my main topic of the DRESSX Fashion Tech Summit. Can you see my screen?
No, not yet. No.
All right, let me try again. So I'm here. I'm connected through two different devices. So you can see now. Can you see my screen now?
No, do you want me to share for you?
I'm actually. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, let me share.
All right.
Sorry. I'll try to make it bigger.
So while you start sharing the screen, let me introduce myself. I'm Stefano. I'm coming from Milan, the city of fashion, but actually I live here in Dubai, the city of future. It's quite late here today, but I'm really happy to join you. So today's discussion will be mostly around everything that is intersection between fashion and tech. This is our job. Let me introduce you shortly about my life. Me working in fashion tech since the last 20 years. Started my career more than 20 years ago with design and store the future for Gucci. Then joined Accenture for more than 12 years as a head of innovation of professional luxury companies. I funded myself an acceleration program with Armani and many other brands. I'm currently the CEO and founder of Limitless, which we do actively matchmaking between big brands such as Armani, Bulgari, Valentino, Diesel, and many more with the best fashion technology company like DRESSX. So let's go next. Thank you. So what we're gonna see today is basically the interaction and the interception between the fashion and technology. I mean, nowadays, having these events called Fashion Tech Summit is quite obvious. But a few years back, it was very much two different words, two different ecosystems with two different languages. So luckily, all the things that have been in the interception between all the major technologies and the different processes of the value chain, you know. Our previous speaker was talking about the mixed reality, but in general, what is really great is actually connect and see what could be done and how we can improve the customer experience, how we can improve the process efficiency. But today we'll be trying to focus more in the virtual fashion. Next, please. In the virtual fashion, I try here to map how many different scenarios of use case in which virtual fashion can be used, because could be used in the 3D design, in the virtual fashion because we can wear it, but also we can virtualize the textile. We can, as we've seen, so today during the presentation, our estimated speaker, we can digitalize the prototyping. What about the fashion show, the merchandising collection? So the full virtual fashion could have an implication on the entire deep fashion value chain, from the design to the production to the store to the commerce to retail. So today we're going to try to just touch few of those potential use cases and see which company, which brands actually are undertaking this revolution and which are the main benefits of adopting this technology, not only in terms of business, but also in terms of circularity and sustainability impact. Next, please. So, digital twin. So we have been discussing a lot about the digital twin, the virtual environments, but I will say that we have three main dimensions that we need to consider in fashion: the product, the person, and the places. So all this, so we've been talking about the Roblox, the avatars, the virtual fashion, but all combined, we can say that would be a huge business, and only here in Europe will be account for more than 7 billion by 2025. So in just more than 1 year and a half, we're going to be basically in a consistent market, only specifically about the digital twin. But let's see next, Olga, please, what actually are some cases. So let me start by this one that was recently presented by Louis Vuitton during Vivatech in Paris this last June. Why I'm starting with these cases? Because this represents a little bit the interaction of the 3P, the three dimension: product, people, and places, where people obviously is avatar, places in this case is the digital catwalk, and product is the full digitalization of the entire product. So, and this potentially can change the game. Can change the game because the See Now Buy Now collection, as Tommy Figure started to discuss most recently in the last 2-3 years, can also come faster, and it can also come closer to the younger generation. So we're going to see these kind of cases of the combination of the three dimension, product, people, and places more and more. But let me also go on to some other next cases, please, Olga. So thank you. Leveraging the 3D configuration will be another big thing. So will be something that, especially in the commerce, will be play a role. And also not only the commerce, but also in the prototype production. So this means reducing waste, reducing water consumption, as you said correctly before, but also improve the business side because you are faster to go to the market. The next case, in fact, Olga, sorry that I have to ask you so many times. The next case, in this case, is actually Moncler. Moncler is being one of the most digital smart company, because they have been actually doing a great job most recently in finding a new tool to engage the customer. And the customer love it to actually having this kind of digital tool on their website. In this case, the result is more than 67 customer engage increase So it means the higher the engagement, the higher is the fun, the higher is the probability of the shopping increase also the revenue, the sales, and the cross-selling, and also the upselling on the specific item. Let's go to the next one. The digital value chain. So as we said in the beginning, the virtual fashion is something that will be last for years. It's a big revolution. And as DRESSX has started, I mean, this will be here for years and years to come. Especially also the entire sector need to start digitalize the supply chain. So imagine also for the textile brands and then also the textile manufacturing, the shoes manufacturing, we have a huge opportunity there. Digitalizing the supply chain means also reduce the cost, increase the speed market, and in general means also translating more business, up to 8% in more engagement and price to every single collection in the sale through. Let me go to the next case, and specifically in which this brand is Pucci under the LVMH universe. I had a chance to host the owner here in Dubai just a few weeks ago, but I had to say that the innovation, the vision, the certain brands has it is crazy. By the way, I know Daria that also Laudomia has been one of your advisors on DRESSX, and we all know how Laudomia is a truly disruptor in the market, being her very senior, but also very innovative in her vision. So also in her company adopting the Crow 3D prototyping, she gets a consistent 30% cost reduction. This actually is a huge result. But let me go very fast. Olga, I want to give you very quick hits about different things. Burberry did a different tool using Adobe, creating 3D prototype. This brings also to them another 30% of cost reduction. Let's go next. So I want to see that overall nowadays for fashion executive, the digitalization of the processes is one of the top 5 priority for the coming 16 months. So how we can make it happen and what the customer actually are perceiving this revolution very well. So the luxury customer have been loved to actually having tool like the 3D body scanning or the 3 avatar digitalization, just we saw by our previous speaker. But also 73% of them, they are willing to try on virtually the product because in the end, as we said in the beginning, fashion is self-expression. And a company like DRESSX are leading the way to actually giving you, empower you to look better, to feel nicely, to be fashionable, to express it at your best, but without necessarily buying and waste resources of human earth. So this actually is a big thing. Let's see some other cases here around. Tommy Hilfiger has started some of the most digitalized company by far, because we mentioned today Gucci, Burberry, Gucci, but there are, and Tommy Hilfiger, Hugo Boss, Burberry, but many others are still behind because they are not yet embracing the full digital scale capabilities. So in this case, Tommy Hilfiger has also started to do the full design processes digitally. And this means that the creative offices are actually using this tool. But if you go to the old classical luxury houses back in Europe, most of them are very still skeptical and afraid to start adopting this technology in the creative office. But we really are strong believer that this will be the future, and every company needs to be digitalized. And a company not digitalized in coming years will have very few chances to be survive in the new competitive landscape. Next one. We talk about a lot about places, so it could be the store, the catwalk, the products, but what about the people? What about the avatar? It's not only about avatar. In this case, it's a different use case about the models, the meta-humans, as also there is agency that are starting to create the full digitalized avatar and digital influencer that can become a spokesperson, ambassador, virtual also client assistant. So there is a big space in which you're gonna see also around customer services, how the new technology digitalizing humans can become a big things in the market in the fashion luxury retail arena. In this case, it's actually quite interesting how this will happen in the coming months. But lastly, not least, in the next case, I also want to touch base, please, Olga. I also want to touch base also something very remarkable. Being this deception between the fashion technology is something that will be going more and more, something that will generate an impact. I'm now sitting here in Dubai, and there is the COP28. In COP28, there are a lot of discussion about digital passport, traceability, materials, but not yet enough about the full utilization of the supply chain. Because only when we said in the beginning, Daria and all the rest of the team, Natalia, and then what if we can translate only just few percentage of the entire fashion industry into full virtual supply chain driven companies, and then with the virtual try-on, we can actually save millions of liters of waters. And also be myself a pro bono ambassador of One Ocean Foundation for the fashion and luxury brands. And then we believe there is a way to make this work better. It's using technology, embracing circularity in your business model, and trying to do our part, also changing our habits, starting using DRESSX and other company like this, and then making a big impact in the sector. So thank you so much for your time. And it was a great event. Thank you to invite me.
Thank you so much, Stefano. It's amazing presentation, amazing cases. I'm really happy that you joined us. It's been a very long evening, so I'm really sorry. Let's skip the question part as well. I would like to thank you, everyone who joined us, the speakers, the listeners. It was a very informative session, and we are going to record. We recorded that, and we are going to share the recording at the beginning of next week in all our channels. So for those of you who couldn't listen from the very beginning till the end, you will have an opportunity to do it online. Listen from the very beginning till the end, you will have an opportunity to do it online.
This is your digital twin repeating.
Yes. Natalia, Daria, would you like to say some words?
Thank you, Olga, and thank you everyone who joined us today. Amazing presentations. I think it's a lot of insights to digest, and we will definitely follow up with the key data points from today's gathering. And also, as Olga mentioned, recording will be available. This is an evolving space and a lot of things to be learned, to be built. We are grateful for everyone to participating, and please.
We are grateful for everyone to participating, and please.
Exactly what I thought it was.
Yeah. Don't shop less, shop digital fashion, as we say. Again, we are super excited to prepare a gift for everyone who joined us today. It's a digital earrings that you can collect. It's a collectible, and you will be able to wear them through camera.dressx.com. Exciting topics, more to come. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, brava Olga, to have been organized everything, and to everyone, to the DRESSX team today. Yeah, it was a great, amazing event. Thank you.
Thank you, Stefano, for all your input during the whole summit. Really very pleasant to have you. Very happy. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.